Oh no, she's gone. She's dead. Sadly, these are the scenes that we see during funerals. People break down as they bury their loved ones. And yet, when that loved one was alive, this level of appreciation, celebration was not there. So today we are going to talk about the elephant in the room, the elephant in many homes. Today we are going to talk about the F word. Let's unpack this.
Can we unpack what's going on? Can we unpack what life is about? Can we unpack what's going on? Can we unpack? Can we unpack?
With Dayan Masinde. The F word is familiarity. Familiarity is when you take somebody for granted because they've been in your life for a considerable amount of time. It's when you get so used to somebody that you no longer treat them as special. You become so casual with them. And familiarity can happen in all types of relationships. So today we're going to look at these different kinds as we unpack. The first way familiarity shows up is when a parent becomes too familiar with their child. So you have this child of yours. You know very well this child is not going anywhere. You sired this child. You gave birth to this child. Or maybe you married your spouse when your spouse was having this child. So you've spent years with this child, but you're taking them for granted. You're seeing greatness in them, but you're not highlighting it. In fact, you would rather highlight the greatness of other children. You look at other people's children and celebrate them. Wow, that was amazing, whatever that child did. But then your child is listening to you, honoring, celebrating, admiring other children, and wondering, how come my father doesn't speak about me like this? How come my mother doesn't celebrate me the way I hear my mother celebrating other children? You're there watching other children on television, on social media, doing wonderful stuff, and you speak so highly of them. But then every single time you speak to your child, you are demeaning them, making them feel useless, making them feel like they are not good enough. And there you are, you're telling your child, hey, why can't you be like that child? Why can't you be like this other child? You're becoming familiar with your child. And slowly, your child starts to pull away. Even though you're the one who's providing for your child can't wait for the day to have their own money, move out, and make a life for themselves. Because you no longer treat them as special. Whenever you see your child, they just think of you scolding them. If you have conversations with your child, all conversations are about disciplining. They are not about loving on the child. Are you becoming too familiar with your child? Are you taking your child for granted? When was the last time you spoke something kind, appreciative to your child? If your child was to be asked, will your child say that you complain about them more than you celebrate them? Do not become familiar with your child just because you've seen them day to day. The other form of familiarity is the reverse, where you, as a child, you become too familiar with your parents. So there you are, you know your parents have been there for you. They've seen you through all types of mess. Whenever things are thick, you run to them. They save the day. You know your parent will do anything for you. And so you've learned to take them for granted. You've learned not to appreciate your parent. In fact, you honor, admire, and celebrate other adults, just not your parents. There you are, if you engage somebody else outside over there, you speak of them highly. You can't even wait to post about them or be seen to be socializing with them, to be connected with them. But then your parent is just watching, observing, as you're making them feel like they are not your standard. Your parent is watching after all the sacrifices that I've done for you, after all the love that I've poured into you. After all, I was hoping that you will come into our lives and you will see just how much you mean to us, as much as we thought. But then no, there you are taking your parents for granted, becoming too familiar because you know they've always been there. Are you taking your parents for granted? When was the last time you honored your parents? When was the last time you said something nice to your parents? When was the last time you made your parents a priority without your parents asking? Have you become too familiar with your parents? The other form of familiarity is between you and your friends. Oh my goodness. Maybe you have this friend who has stood by you through thick and thin. This friend is the one that you have on speed dial. This friend always sacrifices, always thinks about you, always is there. And so you've taken them for granted. You don't even initiate conversations because hey, this friend is going to initiate. You don't even care about that friend's needs, but then that friend goes out of their way to be there for you. That friend has showed up in the most important moments of your life. They've tried their best, but you haven't tried the same. It is one-sided. They are there for you, you're not there for them. And in fact, you know very well that if you are going to call them even today, even though despite you taking them for granted, they are still going to show up. You are taking for granted that friend who is a blessing to you. Friends like that don't come easily. Some friends are once in a lifetime. If you've got that valuable friend who they might have their flaws, but you can tell this friend has their heart in the right place. They mean well. Please don't take them for granted. When God sends you angels, blessings your way, people who really care for you, please remember them, honor them, be grateful. The other level of familiarity is between you and your spouse, you and your partner. You have this spouse that has said, I do to you. They are committed to you. They are raising children with you. They are providing with you and for you. They do their best. Whenever you've needed something, they've always come through. They've been praying for you without you asking. They've been attending to your needs without you asking. They are always reliable. But then this spouse of yours, you're taking them for granted. You don't bother to listen to their complaints about you. You don't bother to spend time with them. You don't bother that their feelings are hurt. When you see your spouse is crying, when you see your spouse is having a difficult day, you're like, whatever. But then there you are, entertaining people who don't even matter in your future. You're there giving your time, your resources, your attention to friends who are just out to have a good time with you, but you're neglecting that spouse who's going to stand with you for life. You're taking for granted this spouse who you know very well, even if you mess up, they will still forgive you because they love you. They've said, I do to you no matter what. And so you're taking for granted this spouse. This spouse of yours would advise you, but do you care to listen? No. But when an outsider advises you and tells you the same thing that your spouse has been telling you for such a long time, you listen. Why? Because you are holding that person outside in high regard than you are holding your spouse. You are taking your spouse for granted. You are treating your spouse very casually. And yet that spouse that you have was once a prayer request. There was a moment in time where you looked at that spouse as somebody special. There is a moment in time where you cherished that spouse, but now you've become too familiar. And as that saying goes, familiarity breeds contempt. Now, you don't even care. You've become too familiar. The other level of familiarity is when you're too familiar with yourself. You are so used to living your life in your body, in your experience, that you don't hold yourself in high regard. In fact, people compliment you and you wonder, who are they talking about? Because you don't see yourself the way other people see you. Other people see your goodness, but then you don't. You are your worst enemy. You put yourself down. You speak so negatively about you. You doubt yourself. You are so mean to you just because you're so used to you. You don't wake up in the morning and see just how special you are. No, You wake up every day and find yet another reason to put yourself down. You've become too used to yourself that other people see your goodness, but then no, you just see what is worst about you. You become too familiar with yourself. And then the other form of familiarity is between you and God. There was a time when your faith was new, your faith was fresh. There's a way you cherished your moments with God, the way you hold prayer as something sacred, the way you worshipped, the way you prayed was special and sweet. But then over time, you've taken God for granted. You don't bother to pray. You don't bother to fellowship. You don't bother to please God because you know God will always be there. You know, even if you mess up, all you have to do is repent. God will forgive you. But then the word says, just because grace abounds, does it mean that we keep on sinning? But then there you are, you're doing it. You don't even care whether you are grieving the Holy Spirit. You don't even care whether you are hurting God's heart. You don't even give a concern about it. You know what? You've taken God for granted. And God is looking at you. God is telling you, I miss you. I miss the person that you used to be when your faith was fresh. I miss those moments that you used to make time for me as your maker. And God is wondering, return to your first love. And in fact, that right there is the solution to familiarity. If any of these forms of familiarity has spoken to you, then this is your moment to return to your first love. Return to your first love for your child. Love your child the way you loved on them when you first laid your eyes on them, the way you first touched them, the way you first knew that you were going to be a father, be a mother. Love on that child. Return to your first love. Return to the first love of how you used to cherish your parents, that same way that you used to value your parents, and you're like, hey, let me go back and love on my parents. Return to the first love of that friend that you've been taking for granted, that blessing that is in your life. Today, give them a call. Make time to be with them. Take them out for a coffee and cherish them. Value that friend. Return to the first love for your spouse, for your partner. Remember why you fell in love with them. Remember what is good about them. See them in their growth state, that they are amazing. They are memorable. Return to the first love for yourself, that you're able to look at yourself once again and be like, hey, I'm actually an amazing person. I'm actually a blessing. I'm actually really good. And I want to give you a challenge. Today, reflect on yourself. Come up with at least 10 things that you love about you. Because for many people, it is easy to love on others than to love on themselves. Please don't hide behind human relationships. You can relate with others and forget yourself, and that is not healthy. No, as you relate with others, please relate well with yourself. The most important relationship you can have is with yourself. And also, return to the first love of you and your maker. Please, go back to God. Go back to that moment of worship. Go back to that sacred, sweet spot where you used to be, where you know when you were there, you had a lot of peace. You had a lot of strength. You just felt it was right. And it wasn't even a feeling. It was knowing. You knew that you were good. And right now, this thing is speaking to you. Return to your first love. Stop being familiar with the blessings that you have. So many blessings that you have right now were once prayer requests. You were yearning for them. You cherished them. Please don't take for granted what you have in your hands. Please cherish the moment. Cherish the people that you have in your life. Cherish yourself. Cherish your God. Let's end familiarity in our lives. This issue has been unpacked.